Hello YouTube. What is going on, guys? GCTV back with another video. This is the second movie of the week I'm going to be reviewing. It's the 2014 Persian language American Western horror film, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. And I mean, a couple of times on this channel, even like through doing the scratch offs, I can show you that now. The picture they have, it's like her with her fangs out. I don't even know if I got the picture fully scratched out, but it is what it is. You guys can see. There it is. We can clean it up once we get this layer done, but I don't want to like risk scratching anything else off. But yeah, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Very interesting movie. Going into this, I had pretty low expectations. It looked kind of low budgety, based on the pictures, and it probably was, but man, did this thing leave an impact. I think this is a really good movie. There were moments towards the end where I kind of zoned out just because, like, I kind of knew how this story was going to end. They were going to go off into the sunset together. You kind of figured that. Maybe they could have added a twist in the end, but overall, you kind of see what's going to happen, which isn't a bad thing. So yeah, this story is about a young, hardworking Iranian man named Arash who lives with and takes care of his heroin-addicted father, Hussein. They're harassed by a cruel drug dealer pimp named Saeed, who seizes the young man's prized car in exchange for money the father owes him. The father, not him. His father's like unemployed, sitting in the house, being a fucking junkie all day, and his son has to go out, work hard to like keep the house afloat, pay this drug dealer guy, all of that. In a crime of opportunity, Arash steals a pair of diamond earrings from the wealthy young woman he works for, Shada. So he works for this like really rich family. He's like repairing shit, like helping them out with their house, just like basic like slavery fucking work pretty much. And he takes those earrings and he's like, yeah, I'm going to trade them, get some money. Yeah. So Saeed comes across a strange young woman in a chador at night, which is like it's like a headdress, sort of thing. I don't know. I don't know what you call that. I don't know like what the synonym for that is. So she persuades Saeed to take her back to his apartment. She's like a prostitute pretty much. While there, she grows long fangs and first bites off his finger, then goes for his neck, killing him. And, you kind of like learn about what this movie's about as you're watching it. It's like, okay, this is about like a vigilante vampire that's like killing anyone that disrespects women and taking her back to the apartment and trying to takes her back to the apartment, like starts to be disrespectful, and yeah. As she leaves, she passes by Arash, who has come to offer the earrings for his car. But he finds Saeed dead and takes back his car keys along with a suitcase of drugs and cash. So yeah, now he's pretty much made a fucking payday now, hasn't he? Arash decides to sell the drugs, allowing him to quit his job working for Shada and to pretty much, just enjoy life, They're in a pretty fucked up area, I would say, but yeah. Later, he goes to a costume party at a nightclub dressed up as Dracula, where he is persuaded by Shada into taking one of the ecstasy pills he is selling. He is selling, like he's eating his own product, like consuming it, and that's probably something you never want to do. Under the influence, he becomes disoriented and ends up lost at night on the street. The woman with the chador spends her time listening to music alone in her apartment, skateboarding, or bedeviling pedestrians at night, until she comes across the lost Arash. So she has a pretty lame life. She's like a vigilante, but she likes music, skateboarding, and, creeping people the fuck out, pretty much. So he shows vulnerability and compassion, and she takes him to her home, where they listen to music, and she resists his exposed neck. Because, like, this is a fucking innocent person. He's not here to really disrespect anyone. He's a really nice person. This Arash guy, I mean, he does some pretty shitty things at the like, steals the guy's stuff. And obviously out of revenge, it was justifiable. But he's a really good person. He's like a good, kind soul in this story. They meet the next night, and she says that he does not know the terrible things she has done. Like, you don't want to be with me. You don't want to, like, start a relationship with me. I'm a pretty shitty person myself. He is unfazed, gives her the earrings, and, at her request, pierces her ears with a safety pin, but she eventually just leaves him. And that's kind of like a bizarre situation you have with this film. There are a couple things that don't necessarily make any sense, but This, I guess, it just shows like the mysterious figure that is this woman who doesn't have a name, doesn't even get a name at all throughout the film. So Adi, a prostitute who worked for Saeed, is followed at night by the woman, and they retreat to the prostitute's apartment. The woman gives Adi the payment Saeed owed her to kind of like make amends. They have a conversation during which the woman realizes that Adi no longer remembers what it is to desire. She leaves. Like, this woman has no purpose in this world. And, the vampire girl, Adi hasn't, like, no desire. She has no ambitions, nothing like that. And the vampire realizes it's just a waste of my time and leaves. Because she's trying to find good in these women and certain women and trying to, like, keep them in, safe, keep them in kind of grounded out there. So like she's like a vigilante for this like mini community, and I mean the movie doesn't have a whole lot of characters in it. So suffering from heroin withdrawal, Hussein has an episode where he believes that Arash's cat is his dead wife, which is fucking weird. Infuriated by his father, Arash gives him drugs and money and throws him out, telling him to take the cat with him. As I kind of mentioned earlier, he keeps the house afloat, so he has every right to kick his father out. His father isn't doing anything for the family anymore. And he's having hallucinations, he's fucking causing problems, ruining the house, and yeah. Hussein goes to Addie and forces her to take heroin with him. Pretty much, like, date rapes her, you know. They're found by the woman who kills Hussein, because, again, he's, like, manipulating this woman, taking advantage of her, sexualizing her, disrespecting her, doing all this stuff. And, again, like, that's kind of like the MO of the vampire. Like, if she sees anyone disrespecting women, if she sees any men acting out of line, it's a really cool story, and I don't think any other movie's really done something like this sort of social commentary. I think it's so cool. So, after Adi helps her dispose of Hussein's body, she tells the woman to take the cat and leave. Get the hell out of here. We don't want anyone to find out that we're doing this. And it's kind of crazy because there's like no law enforcement. Maybe this is like a low budget community. I'm not sure. So the following morning, Arash discovers Hussein's body. Distressed, he runs to the apartment of the woman and begs her to run away with him, and not knowing that she did this. Like, he has faith in her. He thinks she's a good person. And her saying, I've done bad things in my life, in a way, kind of like took us ahead a little bit. As she's gathering up her things, the cat appears, and Arash realizes that she had something to do with his father's death. And at first he's like fucking pissed off, like, why would you do this to my father? But then he realizes what his father was, like a worthless piece of shit, pretty much. So Arash and the woman drive off together, but he pulls off to the side of the road, angry and undecided about what to do. Like, yeah, that's my father, he birthed me, all that stuff. Like, I can get pissed at this woman for killing my family all I want, but again, at the end of the day, that guy was kind of worthless to me. We had no real connection. And he eventually gets back in the car and the two continue their trip out onwards. I think it would have been really cool to have like a twist ending to this movie, but them going off in the sunset seems kind of perfect because she finally finds a man that has faith, that she can have faith in. And I think that's really interesting. I think a follow-up to this movie would have been really cool. I think it's a cool concept. Maybe it isn't franchise worthy, but I really like the concept of this film. Was it executed great all the time? Maybe not, but I'm a big fan of this movie. Don't really have a lot to talk about in terms of a review. This is a pretty good film. It got a 96%, 135 reviews, 8 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes. A girl walks home alone at night, blends conventional elements into something brilliantly original, and serves as a striking calling card for writer-director Anna Lily Amirpour, who I think was a pretty new director at the time of this film. Obviously, it's been 9 years. She could have went on and did other films, but I think this is close to like her debut. Like, I think she did great. Anna Lily Amirpour's auspicious debut feature is a sly, slinky vampire romance set in an imaginary Iranian underworld. Like, we don't even, like, there's no concept as to what this world is. It's just like, we're in Iran. That's where the story takes place. Kind of have to run with it. So this was, 2014's biggest discovery seen by a lot of people, and its feminist themes were really good, and it went well with critics. The film's great. I mean, this moody and gorgeous film is finally more about atmosphere and emotions than narrative, and none the worse for it. It's a really weird landscape. I mean, you got an A minus on the IndieWire. It gives the impression that you're witnessing something iconic and important unfold before you. I mean, the black and white filter. It just gives that classic vibe. Like, this movie's gonna age so well. And it already probably has over the last almost decade. You know, you have like this power plant going on. There's these interesting cuts that the director, Amfor, decides to go with. I don't know if I'm saying her name wrong, right or wrong. I'm sorry if I butchered it. It just gives you those classic vibes. The cinematography, the acting's great. Sheila Vond, I think is her name, plays a very mysterious, in character vampire. I think it's awesome. She like stays to herself, hardly has any dialogue throughout the film. She's kind of just staring at people. I think this is a really good movie, and if you haven't watched this and you're a horror fan, I think this is like damn near an essential. I wasn't quite aware of this film going into it, but shout out to that damn Scratch It poster. They gave me a classic. I kind of want to